Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin has made a marginally lower low overnight, has broken the micro support. Remember, we were watching if possibly a low formed here, but the idea is always when we have the potential for a low that we're watching for a 5-wave advance, and the five-wave advance to then confirm it didn't happen. Instead, we had that move down. Possibly some might say it was triggered by some, well, political events, in the world, you know what I'm talking about. And, well, just a quick shakeout, I'd say, from a chart point of view, of those with a stop that was too tight, maybe. And the chart now needs to make another attempt to form the 5-wave. So I have listed the next, the structure that the chart now needs to show in order to give us the next 5-wave move up. So it's very important to be aware of, okay, what are the relevant parameters here? I think there's a good chance. I mean, already yesterday I highlighted to you, or over the last few days I highlighted to you, the chart has now formed enough waves to the downside to complete this correction. We start to see divergences as well. I mean, looking at the 4-hour chart, let's open the RSI, you can actually see clearly bullish divergences here, all right? And they've actually formed since the 13th of April. So, and now we've actually on the 4-hour chart moved into the bullish range on the RSI. It's just noteworthy because we haven't really seen that in the last, couple of weeks or so. Yeah, okay, not a couple of weeks, 1.5 weeks. So it just needs to sustain there. It just needs to sustain there. So since we started here, this local correction, I mean, the correction started before, right? We're only on the 4-hour chart now. When it started to decline, it never really managed to get back above. Here only briefly, but that's why I say it needs to sustain. So it's only an indicator anyway, but it's at least a first indication here. Something might be changing. We had a break of the trend line yesterday. And interesting is that on the 4-hour time frame, you might see that here, the price actually did not break and sustain below the trend line. So yeah, the wick, and that was a quick shakeout, and now we're back above. So that's interesting. The resistance area that I communicated to you in the last video, however, isn't broken yet. That's here between 64,175 and 65,428. But I think it's looking good. I mean, the movement to the upside looks much more impulsive than what we had here. Yeah, where we explode already for the first time if the low was in. Now it's looking better because, I could get away with calling that maybe a small impulse, 5 up. And this needs to give us one more high, possibly, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not saying it will, but if it's an impulse that's forming here, first of all, that's great because that's clear then. And we ideally want in a third wave the price to reach the 1.38 extension, in this case 66,170. It might get there. That would be the first ideal target. It can always stretch a bit higher. Then we need a 4th wave. The 4th wave would typically pull back to the 100% extension or the 78.6. It's not super reliable, yeah, but I cannot measure, let's say, I cannot measure retracements until we have a top, but it appears likely that we could get a pullback into this zone in the retracement, and we could get a rally into, well, possibly this zone in wave 3, so that would be ideal. And then the wave 5 should get to minimally the 1.618 extension, sometimes even a bit higher. So that's sort of a micro roadmap here that you can see on the chart. But it's easy for the price to deviate from that. That's sort of just ideal fibs, some markers to watch, some levels to watch. And whatever happens, if this is an impulse, the price must not break below the red line, which is the top of the wave 1. That's just way too low. If that happens, then we have invalidation. It's also in a diagonal. It would be too deep to be reliable for a 4th wave of a diagonal here at all, or even here. Yeah, so we want to avoid that. So that would be the move to the downside then. That would be triggered most likely and be a clear signal of failure. And we would just continue, with the 3rd wave in the white count to the downside. So again, there's still wave counts and structures that allow for further downside. And however, as I said yesterday, the break above this high, the 17th of April high, has increased probabilities now that a low is in, but it's still only 3 waves up. So this chart shows you clearly what we need to see. So that means in 5 waves, minimally to 66,948. I think they are the parameters we can watch today. And yeah, highly interesting, because sometimes we just need some kind of a shakeout, right? Sometimes there's just some kind of a shakeout needed to really give us initial or further evidence. Sometimes when the chart is really struggling, and you can see it was quite interesting to see how the price really failed to form 5 waves overnight. Really, that last wave it was struggling with. So I obviously gave you micro support, so that was the indication that, okay, if that breaks, then we make a new low. But things happen so quickly in the crypto world, which is why I don't really like to use very tight stops, because people get shaken out and then, you know, it still runs. Okay, so you go to bed, you get shaken out, and then you come back and the price is higher than yesterday. That's very frustrating. So whenever that happens, maybe think about maybe your stop is too tight. Or just give them a bit more space, smaller positions, whatever. You typically can't really be more aggressive anyway in trading cryptos when or until you have a confirmed low in place. And we didn't have that because we never had the 5 waves up. So it means being careful until we have that confirmation. Just now as I speak, maybe the price is going to form that 3rd wave. So I'm going to finish that video, upload it. It gives you the parameters to watch for today. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.